So let me show you some hands-on examples, and I'll begin with the examples that we saw in the slides. So this is the first one, the first example that we saw of using the while loop. I modified it a little bit, so of course I added the definition of integer variable product and initialized it to 3, and just so we can see the output, I added a printf statement at the end. Rest, the while loop is still the same. So we have a condition over here. So product initialized to 3, and as long as product is less than 100, less than or equal to 100, we multiply product by 3 and update its value. And after we exit from the while loop, we print out smallest power of 3 larger than 100 is ... and we print the value of product. So let me run this once. There you go. Smallest power of 3 larger than 100 is 243. Let me also set a breakpoint over here and run this code step by step so you can see how we go into the while loop and how we exit the while loop. So we're now on line 9 over here, on the line that contains the while statement, and so the value of product, you can see that down here currently is 3, which means this condition is false, which means we go into I'm sorry, it's true. The condition is true. Product is less than 100, less than or equal to 100. So we go in and we update the value of product from 3. It goes to 9, as you can see down here in the watch window. And go to the end of the while loop, jump back up. And we check the condition again. So product right now is 9, which still makes the condition true, which means we go back into the loop and update the value of product. You can see right now it's still 9 and goes to 27 right here. And we go back up to the while condition, check if it's true or not. Yes, 27. The value of product is still less than or equal to 100. Go back into the loop, update it, becomes 81. Check the while condition again. 81 is still less than or equal to 100. Go back into the loop, update the value to 243. Go back up to the while condition. Now this time around the condition is false, which means we jump out of the while loop and to the line with the printf statement. We execute the printf statement, and here's the console window showing the printed message. The string smallest power of 3 larger than 100 is 243, and that's it. That's all of it. So let me remove the breakpoint, comment this out real quick, and here's the code for the next example. Just going to put this here. So this was the simple example of computing the average of 10 students in a class, 10 grades of students in a class. We define an unsigned integer counter, integer grade, integer total, integer average, initialize total to 0, initialize counter to 1. And when we prompt the user for 10 times, we prompt the user to enter different grades, which we add into the total variable while updating the counter variable. We do that 10 times. When we come out of it, we compute the average, which is an integer, remember, and we print out the average. So let me run this. No. Okay, so I'm going to enter 10, 50, 60, 65, 89, 91, 90, 7, 88, 77. There you go. Class average is 68. That's it. Works as it is supposed to, and you can verify that this total is correct on a calculator if you want. Let me run this one more time so you can see this debug mode. So I'll put a breakpoint right here, just before the while loop. Run this and put this window here on the side. And yeah, let's run this. So F10. Uh, 56. And see down here, the value of grade is 56, which has just been added into total. I'll do this a little slower the next time. I'm adding, so we are already 56 in there. I'll add 44, so the sum will add up to 100 next time. So okay, and looks like I think I jumped. Try that again. My click may have interfered over there. Okay. Okay, so I'll be a little more careful. Alright, 56. Take a look at the total down there in the variable window. It goes to 100. And 6. The total has gone up to 333. Counter is now at 7. Can track the value of total. Already at 488. Added the 88 to it. And I think we're in the while loop for the last time. And we're out. We're going to compute the average. Right now the average is not even initialized. Average computes to 66, and now we print it out. And there you go. And finished. So this was the first version of this code that computes the average. Let me comment this version out as well. You can see I also added a return 0 because our main function is supposed to return an integer, and that's just good manners. This now is the refined version of the average computing code. Commented everything else out, even the previous version, so We have an unsigned integer counter, an integer grade, integer total, and this time around we have a floating point type variable average. Total is initialized to 0, counter is initialized to 0. So there was a small typo over here. I missed the N in unsigned. Okay, and the rest of the code is the same as in the slides. So we get the first input, stored it in grade. I'm not going to step through this code. You can do that in your own time now that you know how it works. We have a while loop over here which checks if grade is checks that grade is not equal to 1. And if it is not equal to 1, then it is added to total. Counter is incremented by 1, and we take another input from the user from the command line, read it back into grade, and go back to evaluating the condition of the while loop. We do that for as long as the grade entered is not -1. If the counter at the end, after coming out of the while loop, if the counter variable is non-zero, we compute the average, and while doing so we are casting total to a floating point number, dividing by counter, and printing out the floating point number average as a 2-digit decimal number. And if the value of counter is 0, we print out the message no grades were entered. So let me run this very quickly. There you go. Let me try the easy case first. The first grade I enter is -1, which should take me out of the program and print out this last message that we just saw. There you go. No grades were entered. So that works as it should. Let's try that again, and let's enter a couple of grades. So let's say 50, 60, 70, and 85. This should give us a fractional number, right? So I want to end it here, so I'm going to enter -1. There you go. Class average is 66.25. Fraction number, 2-digit, and so this time I ran it for 4 students. Let me run it one last time just to show you that you can do that for any arbitrary number. And now -1, and the average is 51.88.